Hey, sweetie. Oh.
Don't drop it.
I won't drop it, but I don't know how to turn it on.
Just button on the top.
Don't just button on the top.
On the top.
Gotcha.
All four.
And they don't
Okay.
have little buttons anymore that say on and off.
And then there's the daily word. All right, I'm just going to bring this up real quick. This is our daily word. Susan, who normally does the daily word for us, is not here today, so I just want to have it all ready. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have some wonderful news for you today. Do you know that the same power and presence that put the galaxies into their spin, the same power and presence that inspires the acorn to grow into the mighty oak tree, works inside of each and every one of us? Every single one of us, within us, we carry the power to transform hatred into love and judgment into compassion. And so with that, we will sing our theme song, the I Am Free song. Okay. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. I am free, I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free, I am unlimited. Right now, right now. And we have some new friends here today. We have Teresa, who's come to join us. And we have 3 people in the back who actually came all the way from Maryland.
Just for this service.
Just for well, to do some other things too. They're my family, So, all right. So I'm going to do the daily word today because Susan and Hunter are doing an event for his one of his school groups. All right. Daily word for today is joy. The universe celebrates itself through me. If I ever question my purpose in life, I may find the answer in knowing that life is a purpose unto itself. I am alive, I am living, and that is enough. My life is an expression of the divine. I am divine consciousness manifested in human form, capable of sensing, perceiving, and expressing. Through my senses, I perceive creation. Through my feelings and actions, I express love, drawing good into my life and the lives of others. With joy, I celebrate the miracle of life. The universe celebrates itself through me. I am its instrument of expression. It sings itself into my soul. You are alive, whole, and loved. By saying yes to life, I joyfully celebrate God's greatest gift, life itself. And from Job 8:21, he will yet fill your mouth with laughter and your lips with shouts of joy. I will read the affirmation again and then we can say it together. The universe celebrates itself through me. The universe celebrates itself through me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you want to come get this so it doesn't ring or something? Thank you so much, sweetie. For our announcements, do you have something happening next Friday?
No, it was just Friday.
It was the Friday that just went by. Okay.
Next one is on March 21st.
Okay. First day of spring, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Michael leads a music mantra meditation, and it is a lot of fun. We sit and sing, and it's very gentle, meditative. You know, it's a good experience. Good experience. Hi, Betty. All right. Anything else? Okay, we're good? All right.
The poster.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Pearl brought this in. There is a New Thought Music Festival, and it's happening at the Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living. And the festival is on March 8th. And that's a week from next Saturday, I think.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Anyway, all the information is on this, and we'll find a space and hang it up after the service, okay, so if you have any questions. All right. Okay. Well, my talk today is called, I call it the 4 Epiphanies. There are like infinite number of epiphanies that we can experience, okay? But these are 4 that I think felt like they really got me going and helped me to get understanding. In the book of 1 Timothy, it says, "Do not neglect the gift you have." Each of us have a gift. Each of us have something we're meant to be sharing with the world. Now, oftentimes, people think this gift is in the form of art that they create or the career that they have. But the gift is really how we let God work through us in the world. And that can take any form. It just comes from a very loving space. And love affects us, and so it affects the people around us. And that is why it is a gift to share. We're God's temple. We are a temple created to house God. God is within us, and God works through us, which means we are always that expression. We are put here to glorify God. We're put here to let that Spirit express through us. So if we're put here to share this gift, if we are created to be the temple, that means we're always given the means through which to share that gift. It's not something we have to struggle with. It's not something that we have to search for. It's not something we have to try to figure out. It's already programmed into us how we are to share this gift. But we have to let God work through us. So we have to allow this goodness to work through us without us trying to control it or make it happen a certain way. Christ said, "It is not I, but the Father who does the work." Christ knew that this was what he was meant to be doing. He surrendered his will to divine will. He surrendered to do the work of God, to let God work through him so he could perform all those miracles that he performed, so that he could teach that the kingdom is within. Okay, so that he could teach that everything that he did, we were capable of doing that and even more. Even when we didn't believe that about ourselves, it was still within us. Now, if we neglect to share our gift, there's only one reason that we're neglecting it, and that's because we're choosing from fear instead of love. Choosing from fear is to choose to not let God express through us. Okay, choosing from love is to allow God to work through us. In my own spiritual journey, it started when I was pretty young, because I was a teenager, and I had a dream, a very complicated dream, and it came true. And that got me going on this series of questions about how the universe works through me, how God speaks through me, right? How was I given this knowledge ahead of time, right? It just led to more and more questions. So over the years, I did a lot of reading. I took a lot of classes. I had a lot of fun with it. Sometimes I got annoyed with it. Sometimes I didn't learn a thing, and I was only doing it because I wanted to tell people, yeah, I'm taking all this cool spiritual teaching, and it's so much fun, and it's just way awesome, and it was very expensive, so it must be valuable, right? Okay, I didn't always get what I was learning. But I did find that over the years, I would have moments where this aha would happen in me. Okay, that's an aha moment. All of us have had an aha moment, right? What comes with that aha moment? We get understanding when that happens. An aha moment is a connection between the head and the heart. And we just receive an understanding. This is also known as an epiphany. Okay, and it changes us. Epiphanies change us, because then we start expressing the brightest version of ourselves. Okay, we allow God to work freely through us. We act with love and compassion in the world. That is what happens to us when we receive an epiphany. And so I was thinking about four certain or specific epiphanies that I think are catalysts to allow us to keep having more and more, right? Because we will have them all through our life, right? We will have them all the time. But I think one of the main epiphanies is just coming to the understanding that God is unlimited. We are the ones who limit how God works through us. We're the ones. We limit God. I first started thinking about this when I took a philosophy class, right? Those classes, they always cause all these aha moments, right? Well, I heard a story. It was called The Parable of the Cave. And in this cave, there were prisoners. and they're chained so they can only see the back wall. Okay, they can't see out the front of the cave. Yet during the day, when it's bright outside and there are people walking around, the prisoners can see the shadows go across the wall. The prisoners think that this is real life. They look at the shadows and they think that is what's real. They have no idea what's going on behind them. So they see the shadows, they think it's real, but they have very limited perception, right? Their perception is very limited, yet they believe it to be wholly true, even though it's not. Now, our perception can be very limited sometimes too. We have a limited perspective. We don't always see the big picture. Okay, we don't see everything the way that God sees. Now, Jesus said that with God, all things are possible. This means everything. There's nothing left out when we say with God, all things are possible. But see, he said, first of all, with man, things are impossible. Okay, that is because in these human bodies, with a little human brain and our limited perspective, we are limited. So things are impossible. We can't always do things on our own. We start trying to do things on our own, and it feels frustrating, and it feels scary, and we feel stuck. That is because God is not working through us. It's with God that all things are possible. So sometimes we limit how God works through us. This is a good epiphany to really get to understand. And so we want to know when we're limited, when we're feeling limited. And one of the ways that we limit how God works through us, which means we're limiting ourselves, is we want somebody else to fix all the problems in our life. And this has been one that I've had to really think about over the years, because I look out on my life and I'm like, well, this is wrong. Someone needs to fix this. And I want somebody to fix that. And I want somebody to fix this. But what happens when we give the goodness of our life away out there? We make somebody else responsible for it. If somebody's responsible for fixing our life, they can make us miserable too, right? God has to work through us. Now, everything we need is already inside of us. We have everything we need. But when we're looking at our life, it can feel like we're limited because it looks like something that needs to be fixed can only be fixed from out here. Okay? So something needs to happen out here. Well, this is how God works through us. Okay? This is how everything is within us, and I'm going to tell you. Last week, I had this thing happen that just gave me a great example for this, but my son's school, my daughter and my son, their school is putting on a big benefit concert. My son's band is performing, and we needed flyers printed. Well, my printer couldn't do it. And so I started feeling frantic. I've got to do it. I've got to fix this. I've got to make this happen. Okay? That's very limiting. So I thought, well, I can't do it. Okay, well, I'm going to call a printer. I'm going to call a local printer who's here in Redlands, and they should just donate their services because they're from Redlands, and the kids' school's from Redlands, and this is a community event in Redlands, right? And I send them an email, and he's like, I'll do them for 19 cents a copy. Okay, well, that's not donating anything to me, and I still would have to pay money, and I don't have the money right now in their account. We don't want to drain all the funds from the school for this, right? I was feeling frantic. I was trying to fix this with my limited thinking. Okay, so I took a break. I thought, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I just let myself feel peaceful. And I said this prayer, and I sang this prayer more and more all the time. Infinite Spirit, open the way. Show me another way. How can this happen? And then I got this idea. Post on Facebook. Ask your friends. You have a lot of Redlands friends. Post on Facebook that you need volunteers to print. So I posted on Facebook, and I said, if you have a printer and you can print this, I can send you the JPEG, right? I just figured I would just get like 10, 15 people to each print like 20 copies, right? And I did that. And I got people who volunteered to do it. We got copies. In fact, we had more just come in today. Okay? Now, but see, that wasn't even occurring to me when I was feeling frantic. God is within us, and God works through us by inspiring us. So we know when to ask for help. We know who to ask for help. Right? We don't have to do it all on our own. Just because it's within us doesn't mean we're by ourselves. We have to figure out how to do it. That it's within us already, that God is within us, means We'll be given direction. Okay, we'll be given the next step. We just have to trust how that inspiration works through us. Choosing from fear, choosing from desperation will not cut it. I've tried it. It never has worked. I just thought I would let you know, in case you were thinking of trying it yourself. Okay? It's inspiration. It is praying. It's relaxing. It's letting that force work through us. Okay? The force that put the galaxies into their spin can't help me get some flyers printed. Okay? God is unlimited. Unlimited. Sometimes we limit ourselves and we limit how God works through us by blaming things outside of us. Okay? Sometimes we want somebody out there to fix it. Sometimes we're blaming things outside. Again, if we're blaming something outside of us, we're giving all of our power away. We're saying they have the power to make us happy. They have the power to make us miserable. That we don't have any of that power within us. When somebody does something to us that hurts us, then basically we're saying, well, I know God wants me to be the brightest expression and to share love in the world, but this other person did this really horrible thing to me, so now I can't do that because this other person who ruined this thing for me is more powerful than God. That's what we're saying when we're blaming outside of us. They have more power than God. Okay? God is unlimited. There's divine design behind every situation. Even the ones that seem awful, even the ones that are difficult and challenging, there's still divine design in there because God is unlimited. God is everywhere present. God is within each person and God is within every situation. There's no place that God is not. Okay, so God is within everything. We just have to allow God to work through us so that we can let go of our own ideas of how things are supposed to be. We let go and we forgive. We forgive so that we can take that power back and let it work through us. We forgive so nobody out there can control us. We have to forgive. And I know forgiving is the most unreasonable act possible sometimes. Forgiving is not a rational act. There are some situations and people that really, honestly, may not deserve any forgiveness. Okay? But it's not about them. It's not reasonable. It's not rational. It's transformational. That's why we forgive. It's transformational. It's for us. It's so we can let that thing go, so that we have our life back, so that cannot control us anymore. That cannot make us miserable anymore. Okay? God is unlimited. But we choose to limit how God works through us when we stay stuck in a space of suffering. God can't work through us when we're suffering. Okay? We're not allowing that to come through us. It is our Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. God is unlimited. God wants goodness to work through us. God wants a life of goodness for us. Yes, pain is inevitable. It is. But suffering is not. One of my very favorite quotes from the Buddha. We're in a human body. We're in a human form. Things are going to happen that are going to cause us heartache. But God is still everywhere present. And when we recognize that God is still everywhere present, even in our heartache, because God is working through us with love, it allows that love to heal us. Okay, to heal the grief, to heal the loss, to heal the pain. Love is what heals us as it works through us. Another way that we limit ourselves, we limit how God works through us, is when we think that we know the best way that everybody should live their life, how the government should do things, how religion should do things, how the city should do things, how the economy should go, why this is wrong, why that is wrong. I remember one time laughing on the phone to somebody saying, well, I know what's best, but they won't listen to me, okay? When we think that something needs to be a certain way and they should do it how we think that they should do it and our way's the only way, what happens when they don't do it our way? We get upset, we get judgmental, right? And so it causes frustration inside of us. We're limiting how God works when we do that. We don't know what their path is about. We don't know what needs to happen inside of their head to make them change their course. We never know how that looks. Okay, once upon a time, I was laid off from a job where I was at for 10.5 years. And there were people in my life who felt bad for me, right? I felt bad for me. And later on, though, I found out it wasn't. Okay, that wasn't. When we're trying to control everything outside of us, we're trying to control that force that put the galaxies into their spin. We're saying we know better than that force that helps a baby grow in just 9 months. We know better? No, we don't. We limit God when we think we know how God should do it. We don't know how God should do it. We don't see the big picture. So we're limiting God if we decide it has to be done a certain way. Limitations never come from spirit. Limitations always come from our limited way of thinking. So we just remember the kingdom within, right? The kingdom is within us, each person. The kingdom is there. The second epiphany is when we can understand that knowledge alone is not enough. It doesn't matter how much we learn, how much we read, how many workshops we go to, right? How much online training we take, how many seminars, right? Knowledge is simply fact-finding and data gathering. That's all knowledge is. I have a very impressive library in my home. And I have people come over sometimes and they look at that big old library and they're like, wow, Deanna, you got a lot of books. You really know a lot. And I'm just thinking, they only knew, right? Knowledge alone is not enough. We have to start putting it into action. We have to start living it. Our life is the walking advertisement for our true belief system. Okay? So we can read over and over and over again that we shouldn't be judging or we shouldn't criticize, right? Yet if we're judging and criticizing, right, I had to laugh so hard one day. My aunt and I went out to lunch, and we pulled into the parking lot, and there was a car there parked all crooked. And I said, wow, they can't even park their car straight, right? And we get out, we walk around the front of the restaurant, I look at my car. I was so crooked. Like, okay. Oh. Yeah. Eric Butterworth, one of my favorite authors, has a condition that he calls being overread and underdone, right? Which is just reading and reading and reading and never putting it into action. Just data gathering, right? Just fact finding. Doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters, right? Our actions show what we believe. So knowledge alone is not enough. In the book of 1 Timothy, it says, meditate upon these things. Give yourself wholly to them, so that it may be known to all that you are progressing. Take heed to yourself and to your teachings, and be firm in them, for in doing this, you shall both save yourself and those who hear you. What he's saying is, commit. Commit to it. Make a promise to yourself and commit to it. Don't talk about it. Throw yourself into it. Embody what you believe in and show the world. Be an example. We lead by example. Anybody who's ever had kids knows this. Because we tell our kids to do one thing and then we do another. The kids are just like, whoa, that's not what you did. Right? Even though we say something, we're like, well, you didn't do that. They don't ever say, well, that's not what you said. They say, that's not what you did. Macy's like, uh-huh. They always remind me. My children always remind me. Okay, I start acting up at home, and they're like, Mom, didn't you listen to your sermon? Okay, so yeah. Take heed to yourself and to your teachings. Take heed. Act on them. Commit to them. Be inspired. How does God speak to us? God inspires us. That's what inspired means. In spirit. Inspire. Okay? There hasn't been a burning bush in over 4,000 years. God inspires us. That is how we act. That's what we listen to, is that voice of inspiration. The voice of inspiration feels good and sounds beautiful and is loving to us. That is how we know it's God speaking to us. Okay? It's the hint. It's the feeling. It's that feeling from our heart that we should be doing something. It's not that voice telling us we're stupid for trying something. Okay? When I thought about that Facebook idea last week, when I got inspired with it, do you know what the immediate thought after that was? Oh, don't be stupid. Who would respond? That's not the voice of a loving creator. Don't be stupid. A loving creator wouldn't say, oh, you should post on Facebook. No, that'd be stupid if you did that. Okay, no, that was me. That was my own fear. That was the limited part. Okay, so I ignored it. I ignored it. And we have to teach ourselves to do that. There's a voice that speaks lovingly to us, that inspires us so that we know where to ask, where to go, what to do. But if that mean voice comes in afterwards, right, we have to teach ourselves to not listen to the mean voice. Okay, we commit to ourselves. We commit. I've been inspired and I've committed to the process. I've listened, I've acted, and I've had really wonderful things happen in my life. I've also been inspired and then I got distracted and I didn't do it. Nothing exciting happened. I stayed in the same old place. There was no growth. I didn't get what I was looking for because I didn't act on that inspiration. So we have to act on it. We can't just listen to it. We also have to act on it. There's a huge difference. Knowledge alone is not enough. Knowledge alone is not enough. We have to do something. We have to practice it. We practice it, we practice it. That's how we gain understanding. Knowledge is in the brain. Understanding is in the heart. And when we get it into the heart, that's when we're finally embodying it. That's when we can finally live it. Our life is a reflection of our beliefs. All the time. We are a walking advertisement for our life, okay, of our beliefs. Not what we say we believe, what we really believe. So knowledge alone is not enough. The third epiphany is only love is real. Now this one was probably the most difficult for me to get an understanding of. Intellectually, I could make it make sense. Okay, God is everywhere present, right? There's nothing God can't do. God is made from love, right? But I had to think about this a while. The poet Rumi said, go find yourself first so you can also find me. To believe that only love is real, we have to see love everywhere, which means we have to understand that God is everywhere. We have to believe that God is everywhere, even in those situations that look unpleasant, even in those people that look awful. Okay, we still have to be able to say God is in that person. However, we cannot find God in another person until we find God in ourselves. Right? That is why we have to find ourselves first. We have to be clear who we are and what we come from. Okay, who we are divine expressions of a divine and loving creator. We are created in the image and likeness of God. Okay, so what are we? We are love because we are created in the image and likeness of God. It's not a physical image. It is a spiritual image. God is love. God is light. God is goodness. Paul said this. John said this. Jesus said this. Paul went on to say, you are children of light. He said that we have the ability to be enlightened. And so we should act like children of light. That it was possible for us to become enlightened. Okay, we are children of light. In the book of Ephesians it says, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in all of us. God is everywhere present. There is no place that God is not. Now it goes on to say in Ephesians, but to every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. The gift of Christ is the awareness of what it is that works through us. That the kingdom of heaven is within us. And that is what works through us. However, when we look around the world, and it doesn't always look like it's only love. It's just that that love has been contaminated. I have a little demonstration, okay? Here we have this glass of water. Clear water, okay? And this is what we are. Now I'm just going to add like a little dribble of coffee. Did you see how it contaminated it? You can see like just a dribble, right? You just saw me pour just a dribble. Just a dribble of coffee. All right? That is the appearance of not love. Okay? It contaminates the love. But what would happen if I poured this into a bathtub full of water? What would happen if I poured this into a stream? It would clear again. Right? And we clear ourselves by allowing God to work through us, by choosing from love. And when we remember that only love is real, okay, we remember what it is that works through us. Okay, we're not abandoned, we're not lost. Okay, there's a force inside of us that is always seeking to guide us by letting us receive that inspiration. Okay, and we clear ourselves, we clear that contamination out of ourselves when we let God work through us. And then we start seeing beauty around us. Okay, there's a saying that if you believe in a chaotic world you will see. If you believe in a loving world you will see. And we see a loving world by seeing with eyes of God, by seeing that God is present in every person. We have free will, so we can make those bad choices if we want to. We can choose to be mean, we can choose to rain on somebody's parade. But when we see with eyes of love, when we see the world the way God wants us to see it, with love, okay, what we discover is that only somebody who is hurting can hurt another person. Okay, because they're not feeling that within them. When someone is really feeling that connection to the indwelling spirit, they're feeling in alignment with God, and they're feeling that love and that peace and that compassion, that's what's radiating through them. That is what's working through them as God, as unlimited possibilities. And so they're not going to hurt people. Okay? Only somebody who is hurting, who's cut themselves off from that loving presence within them, can hurt another person. And see, we are not created from fear. Fear is not what we came in here with. Fear was given to us later on. We picked it up, okay? We were created in the spirit, with the spirit of power, love, and good discipline. Power. Created with the spirit of power. So we can create and express in this world. We can extend the love of God through us. Okay, love, because love is what we want to share in this world. We're here to be, do, and live love. Okay, and then good discipline, so we can make a better choice. We can choose to come from love. Even when we've chosen to come from fear, even when we've chosen to be angry, we have it within us to change our mind and come from a space of love again. It is within us. Everything is within us. Then the last epiphany, okay, is learning to let go. Now that one I thought was the easiest one. No. That one I thought was the most obvious one, right? We should learn to let go. It was not necessarily that easy to do. Deepak Chopra says to have it all, you have to be willing to give it all up. And that's what I thought letting go meant. I thought it meant sacrificing. I thought it meant putting myself in a place where I wasn't comfortable anymore. Okay? Because mostly I believed it because Jesus told one of his followers he had to give away all his stuff. Give it all away. Now at the time, what I didn't understand was that Jesus had other followers who were wealthy, and he didn't make them give away their stuff. This one person had an attachment to his money. Attachment to his possessions. Okay, he had, he wanted to be a certain way. He wanted people to admire him, or whatever that was. There's a big difference between having an attachment to money, which is a lack consciousness, okay, or being aligned with the indwelling spirit and having money. That's different, but I didn't quite understand that at the time. So when we're letting go, to be able to let it all go, to have it all, is surrendering our will to divine will. That's what it is, surrendering our will to divine will. We have a limited view of the universe, right? We have a limited view of our world. We have a limited view of our own life. And when we surrender our will to divine will, we allow our expectations to be exceeded. We can't exceed our own expectations. We have to let God do that for us. When I got laid off from that job where I had been for over 10 years, I wasn't very happy about it. You know, most of us weren't. There were a lot of us that were laid off. I struggled and struggled and struggled to get back into that office. I applied for every job. I kept thinking, well, they know me. You know, they know me, and they should want to hire me. I should be able to get back. I wanted to go back. Finally, I gave up because it was exhausting me. Everybody kept saying no. So it was only when I let that go And I only let go because I was exhausted. I didn't let go to have divine will guide me, okay? But I let go because I was exhausted, and then I was carried forward, and good things started happening. And it took me a couple years, but I realized there was divine design even in that. And it brought me a life happier than what I imagined. It brought me things that I had not imagined, okay? I kept trying to go back because I was used to it. It was my comfort zone, okay? God doesn't want us to stay still, right? We're meant to be moving out of our comfort zone. We're meant to be extending that love farther than we imagined, sharing our gifts farther than we imagined, loving more, loving more. That is what we're meant to do. So we have to let go of our ideas in order to be surprised, okay, in order to be delighted. I always like to say surprised and delighted together in the same sentence. I don't want to be surprised in a way I don't want to be surprised, right? Albert Einstein said the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. We have to be able to change our mind. We have to be able to let things go. When we can't let things go, we're thinking it has to be a certain way, which is limiting how God works through us. And then what happens when it doesn't work out that way? We judge it. Okay, when I wasn't getting that old job back that I wanted, I was resentful. I didn't feel happy over it. I was resentful because I thought it had to be that certain way. The only way we can move forward is to let God move us forward. Letting go. We can't flow down the river if we're clinging to the bank. And it's a struggle to not flow down a river. It's a struggle. We've got to fight against a current. It is exhausting to try to live our will. That's what exhausts us, is trying to make it happen our way. When we surrender our will to divine will, we're given help. Okay, God is working through us and things will flow easier for us. God is unlimited. God is unlimited. When it feels unreasonable or unrational to let go of something, that's when we want to go back to the first epiphany, that God is unlimited. We're the one. We're the one that hangs on. We're the one that limits God. When we let go anyway, when we let go even though it feels unreasonable to do that, we open our hearts. We let God work through us. That loving presence within us then will start to heal us. There's where we experience the healing, by letting God work through us. Not hanging on and saying, you know, God, you screwed this up. My life wasn't supposed to look like this. Okay? No, God works through us, and that's how we heal. We let that indwelling spirit work for us. In the book of Colossians, it says, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. Love is what binds everything together in perfect harmony. Okay? Not frustration, not anger, not guilt, not resentment, not annoyance, not hatred. Nothing. Nothing will bring us harmony. Nothing will unite us except love. Except love. Love is what we are, because we are like what we come from. We are the voice of God. We are the eyes, the hands, the feet, the arms. We are the means through which God gets to create in this world. It's us. We were created so God could do that. That's why we're called the temple. That's why we are told that we're precious, that we are the precious temple for God to work through. We have been given a gift that we're meant to share with each other. And all we have to do is just let God work through us. So, until next time, remember that you are a divine child of a loving Creator. You are a force for good. You are a light and you light the way. With every beat of your heart, with every breath you take, you are radiating light and love out into the world around you. In everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is.
Amen.